Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
A new program at Arizona State University is connecting students to federal service while they're still in school through a model that blends coursework with hands-on experience. It's part of a broader effort to strengthen the talent pipeline and widen access to government careers. Shannon Portillo, director of ASU's School of Public Affairs, is here to give us more information about the initiative.
Shannon, it is so great to see you today and to catch up on everything that's happening at ASU. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You are working to unveil a new federal career track for ASU. We're going to talk more about the details of that, but I first want to hear why. What is it about federal workforce, the federal workforce, federal service that you are hearing and your students are hearing at Arizona that is still motivating them to come?
So I'm going to step back a little bit and tell you a little bit about when we started thinking about this program. So we started planning for this in fall of 2024, before the last election. I was hearing from more students than ever that they were really excited about the idea of public service. For many of them, they didn't think about government when they thought about public service. And for many of them, DC seemed really far away. They had no concept of how they would even start a federal career. But these were bright students, people who we want contributing. They just didn't really have a pathway there. So we started this program as a way to say, how can we set up a pipeline? How do we help students who are interested in public service understand what it means to work for the federal government? We planned this out in fall of 24. We started recruiting for our first class in January of 25. You would think that students would get very scared with what they started hearing, what was going on. That wasn't the case. Students were actually really energized because they said, I want to be part of the solution. So students weren't scared off by what was going on. They were doubling down on, I want to do something different. I want to contribute. I want to figure out how. But they still have a lot of questions about how do they contribute? What does that look like for them? How do they get here? How do they get connected? How do they get involved? And so this program is really designed to help students envision what a career can look like and think about all of the pieces to a career that are often, we call them the hidden curriculum. How do you network? How do you find a place to live? How do you actually transition from Arizona to DC? Because so many of our students have actually never left the state of Arizona before. So just the move piece becomes the challenge, and that's more of a challenge than thinking about federal service.
We think about federal service from the pipeline problem, how long it takes to hire somebody, where the recruits are going to come from. You're tackling this from the other side, what brings people into the pipeline. So walk us through what this program will actually look like for a student. How will it get them from ASU campus to federal service?
So we're building on 10 years of success with our Next Generation Service Corps. NGSC is designed to help students think about character-driven leadership and prepare students from any major at the university to think about public service. So students in NGSC complete 3 internships, one in the private sector, one in the public sector, one in the nonprofit sector. They work on mission teams, tackling a big social challenge together in a transdisciplinary way. They have scholarship support to help create time for that, but they really focus in on leadership development. NGSC 10 years ago was conceived of as a program for all 4 years of undergrad. We started having transfer cohorts so students could come in from a community college and do the program in 2 years. This program is designed for students to join as a junior, as a rising junior from any major, and they say, I'm interested in federal service. They join our accelerated Masters of Public Administration program. So they do those 3 internships. They do the leadership development. They have professional development in 2 years with us in Arizona while they finish undergrad. Then they come out to DC and they do a 1-year accelerated Masters of Public Administration at the ASU DC location, while hopefully doing another internship with a federal agency or in a federal government adjacent role and launch their career from there.
Dr. Shannon Portillo is Director and Co-Presidential Chair of the School of Public Affairs, the Watts College of Public Service at ASU. So Shannon, let's talk about that year in Washington. Why do you need to have those students here for that year? What is it about that experience that is going to really translate for them to federal service?
Yeah, as I mentioned, one of the things that students are nervous about is the moving to DC part. And so they come as a cohort. They already have 2 years of building relationships with their fellow students. They have 2 years of building relationships with our professors of practice in the school who will be with them here in DC. So that year in DC is really meant to help them build their professional network, develop their skills, and decide what they want their careers to look like. So this is a year for them to really get to know what it's like to work in federal service.
One of the challenges about being in DC is that you often need to know somebody to kind of get in. And so the programs at ASU really have a huge focus on first gen students. How are you building a structure that can support a first gen college student making the leap to DC, a year here, and then hopefully that transition to federal service?
That's why I'm here right now. Actually, our goal is to get ahead of this for students to help them build that network early before they arrive, to make sure that we're activating the ASU alumni and friends of ASU that we already have in the DC area, make sure that we're developing the skills that students need to build a network, helping them understand what are all of those kind of intangible pieces that help us have a successful career. So they're doing that professional development with us while they're juniors and seniors in undergrad. And then when they get here, we hope they're ready to hit the ground running, build up their own network, start those careers. And then this first cohort will help the second cohort, will help the third cohort. And the goal is to build that pipeline and everyone to lift as they climb.
I know you've been thinking about this program for a while before you started to roll it out. I'm curious, what have you changed in the traditional MPA curriculum to really help prepare these students for the 21st century world of government?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know that it's necessarily us changing the core curriculum, but it's changing our orientation to who we expect to serve in 21st century government. So as I mentioned, it's a transdisciplinary program. So we have students from engineering, from business, from public service, from emergency management. Our goal is to get students from all over because we need people with all types of backgrounds in federal service. The core curriculum, though, is really making sure that those students have a good sense of what does it mean to have strong management skills? What does it mean to have strong data analytics skills? How do they have strong communication skills? How do we think about technology and the evolving role of technology in government? So they'll have the same core MPA curriculum. Their electives will be really focused in on those internship experiences, the work experiences, and then thinking broadly about what does a federal career look like. So we will have an experiential internship course as part of this, but they'll have the same core curriculum of all of our MPA grads.
And as you think forward, your first cohort has 11 students. They're going to finish up this program in 2028, right? Think for me 5 years down the road, how does this program grow? How does it expand? How will you know if it's been successful?
Yeah, so ASU loves to do things at scale. We like to pilot, experiment, innovate, design, get feedback, redesign. 5 years from now, I'm hopeful that it may not just be cohorts of students from ASU, but we have 28 universities who are part of the Next Generation Core Network. And so how can we get more universities involved in this pipeline? How do we make sure that we're recruiting broadly across all of the majors at ASU? And then how do we get the resources to scale this up so any student who wants to make this journey can make this journey?
And so if there are federal agencies who might want to, get a finger on some of these folks during their year for internships, or private sector nonprofits, where do folks go to learn more about the program?
Absolutely. So I would love if folks would contact me. I'm happy to share my email address so that people can get in direct contact. But on our Next Generation Service Corps website, we have an accelerated federal career track page on that website. So folks can take a look at it, see what we're doing, and get in contact. We are very open to internships in federal agencies, nonprofit, in the private sector. We want students to have access to the full range of experiences.
I've been speaking with Dr. Shannon Portillo. She's the Director and Core Presidential Chair at the School of Public Affairs, Watts College of Public Service, Arizona State University. Shannon, thanks so much for joining me. Thanks for creating this amazing program. We're excited for what may happen.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time to chat about it. We're excited for our students to get out here and start learning.
We'll post this interview at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive. Subscribe to the Federal Drive wherever you get your podcasts.